Hello everyone and welcome to another biology class of Fun Scholar. Today our topic is the leaf. We will be covering this chapter which is from ICSE class 6. Okay, so let's begin. So what do we understand by this part, the leaf? We all know that leaf is a very important part of the plant body. Why? Mainly because it performs photosynthesis, right? This we all know from our lower grades. But in this chapter, we will be looking into the other areas such as the structure of the leaf, the other functions of the leaf apart from photosynthesis, and also some modifications of the leaf. So let's see. So first coming to the parts of a plant. We all know that plants have two broad categories as parts. One is the root system, another is the shoot system. Primarily, root system is the part of the plant that stays below the ground, and shoot system is the part of the plant that stays above ground. And the root system helps in absorbing the water and the minerals from the soil, and the shoot system actually helps in synthesizing the food with the help of the chlorophyll in the presence of the sunlight, and also the upper part of the plant takes part in other functions such as the pollination, fertilization, so on and so forth. Now, coming to the root system. Basically, roots are of two types. As you can see, one is the taproot system, another is the fibrous root system. Let's talk about them one by one. Now, in the taproot system, we can see a main primary root, right? A main primary root will be there. And this primary root will have branches. Those will be known as secondary root. And when secondary root will bear branches, they will be known as tertiary root. Okay, but as such, it consists of a main root system in which you can clearly identify the primary root, and also it will bear the root hairs. It will bear the root hairs. The small spine-like structures you can see in the picture, these are the root hairs. Okay, and coming to the fibrous root system, here from the picture only you can identify fibrous roots will be a cluster of roots. You cannot identify which one is the main branch, which one is the side branch, like this. There will be a cluster of roots, all of them will look alike. Okay, and one more thing is that they will also contain the root hairs, but this is the another point of difference, that fibrous root system will be present in monocot plants and taproot system will be usually found in the dicot plants. Now, what are monocots and dicots? Let's see. The term monocot, right? Now, if I divide the term, mono means one and cot has been derived from the word cotyledon. Cotyledon. Now, cotyledon means seed leaf. What is seed leaf? When a seed is broken on either side, you will find that there is the food reserve for the growing embryo within the plant. Those food reserve is stored in the seed leaf. And seed leaf the plants which contains food reserve in only one seed leaf, those plants are known as monocots. And also similarly, on the other hand, in the dicots, di means two. So therefore you can understand the plants which will contain the food reserve for the growing embryo in both the seed leaves, those plants are called as dicot plants. So basically dicot plants will bear taproot system and the monocot plants will bear the fibrous root system. Okay. Now we'll watch a video regarding this root systems.
Now that we've learned about the major types of plants based on their appearances, let's talk about the parts that make up a plant. Wait, do plants have parts? Of course they do. They have a distinct body that is composed of major parts. These are like the organs that we have in our body. All these parts perform their individual functions efficiently. To name them, we have a list that includes roots, stem, leaves, flowers, and the fruits. We will learn about all these parts in detail one at a time. Let's begin with looking at the lowest part first and then moving upwards. So let's start with the roots first. Roots are the part of the plant which are underground. Being below the soil surface, can you guess what their major function could be? Yes, it goes without saying that the roots help in anchoring the plant. It is because of the roots plants are able to stand firmly in the soil. Is this their sole function? Of course not. Well, have you ever seen what happens to the water when you pour it in the soil near a plant? It disappears, right? Is there some kind of magic? No, it's basically the roots that absorb the water which has been added. One of the most important functions of the roots is to absorb the water from the soil along with the nutrients. This water is then taken up by the plant body to the top where it's given to the leaves. Coming back to roots, tell me one thing. If roots serve a similar function in any plant, then do all plants have exactly the same roots? Just think for a moment. Will the smaller parsley plant used in food garnishing and a huge palm tree have the same type of roots? Needless to say, they won't have the same type of roots. Therefore, different plants possess different types of roots. The two major types that we usually study are taproots and fibrous roots. Now, what are these exactly? Let's have a look at each type. The first on our list is a type called taproots. The taproot system is composed of a main root which grows from the base of the stem. Many branches and sub-branches come out of this main root as we can see here. We usually come across a large number of plants in our surroundings that belong to this category. The pea plant, radish, carrot, marigold, and mustard are some plants which have a taproot system. The next type on our list are the fibrous roots. As the name suggests, it's exactly opposite to the taproot system. In this case, instead of one primary root structure, a cluster of thin fiber-like roots arise from the base of the stem. These roots spread out in the soil as we can see here. Plants like maize, grass, wheat, and millets show these fibrous root systems. So is this all there is to know about the roots of the plants? There is more. We are yet to cover one more function. You will be surprised to know that in some plants, roots also serve the purpose of storage. But what do they store? Do they store food by any chance? Yes, they do. In some cases, roots store the food prepared by the plant's leaves. Examples of this type include radish, carrot, beetroot, and many more. That is the reason why these roots appear fleshy and are edible too. So this was generally about the roots in plants. Let us now move a step upward. So what comes above the roots? Yes, the stem. Let's learn about the stems in various plants. See you in the next video.
So we have now known about the types of roots, the function of the roots, and also the structure of the types of roots, right? Now coming to the functions once more, you have already watched that the main functions of the root system are given as here, that they anchor the plant to the soil, they help to hold the plant firmly, and they keep the plant stationary on the soil. Next, they absorb water and minerals from the soil and they send it to the plant body and also to the leaves for photosynthesis, and also they bind the soil to prevent soil erosion. That is why in case of any slope area, wherever you will see that there are plants, they are planted, so therefore the soil will not be washed away either by the wind or by the water, because the roots of the plants hold the soil tightly. And in the absence of the roots, in case of deforestation or when the roots are uprooted due to any heavy storm, so soil erosion is also followed by that incident. Moreover, as you have also watched in the video, that the roots also sometimes store food for the plants. Now coming to the shoot system. The shoot system includes the stems, the leaves, the flowers and the fruits and also the buds. Okay, so these are the constituents of the shoot system that generally stays above the ground level. Now we will know about this system in detail. Let's watch a video regarding this part also, that is the stem.
In our previous video, we learned how important the roots are for any plant. They serve many important functions like anchoring the plant, absorbing water and nutrients, and sometimes also storing food. Now we need to discuss another part, that's the stem. The stem forms the main structural framework of the plant. The stem bears leaves, branches, buds, flowers, and fruits. So this must mean that the stem is that part of the plant where most of the other plant organs are present. Yes, this part of the plant body serves a whole lot of functions. Let us learn about these functions one by one. Since the stem grows above the soil, it gives immense structural support to the plant. Giving structural support is common in all plants. But did you know that there are a few plants where the stem may be green in color? Can you guess what its function could be in such cases? It goes without saying that it's involved in the process of photosynthesis. Wait, did I just say that stem carries out photosynthesis, the food-making process in plants? Yes, exactly. It is true that leaves are the primary sites for photosynthesis. But sometimes in some plants, we find the stem to be immature and green in color. In such cases, the stem can carry out the food-making process or simply photosynthesis. But this is only relevant in some plants. This is not the function of stems in all the plants. Then what could be the major function apart from forming the structural framework? Imagine we are building a block of apartments. The structural framework will be incomplete without the wires and pipes that connect the apartments internally. That's exactly the point. The stem gives complete support to the plant. However, another extremely important function that it serves is the conduction of substances throughout the plant body. Yes, the water from the roots is transported to the leaves. Similarly, food synthesized in the leaves needs to be sent across to all the parts. The stem takes up this responsibility. It acts as a medium of transport of substances. Now let me tell you one very interesting fact. Apart from the functions of support and conduction, in some cases the stem also functions as a storage bag. Yes, just like roots, the stem is also a place for food storage in certain plants. Can you guess a few examples of these plants? We do come across these in everyday life. Examples of this type include potato, onion, garlic, ginger, turmeric, etc. The reason why these appear swollen and fleshy is because they store excessive food. Now we're done with learning a few important things about the stem. So what next? The next part we need to study are the leaves. The ones that help the plant to survive by making food. In the next video, we will zoom inside this miraculous.
So therefore, we have understood the basic details about the stem and the basic functions. So stem here is given the main aerial part of the plant. Aerial part means it stays above the ground and it comes in contact with the atmosphere. That is why. And the points on the stem where leaves and branches originate are called nodes. So these nodes are present. These nodes are also present in the underground stems also. The examples that you have watched in case of the storing of food in stems. That means these nodes are present in the on the surface of the potato, which is known as the eye of the potato. Then in case of the ginger, turmeric, then the all the other types of storage stems such as the onion and then the garlic. So they bear the nodes, and whenever underground structure bear nodes and store food, we can discern that these are the storage stems and not storage roots. And the region between two successive nodes is known as internodes. Okay. Then the buds present at the tip of the shoot are called apical or terminal buds. Apical means it has come from the word apex, right? And apex means tip. So therefore, the bud which is present on the top, which is the ultimate bud on the shoot system, it is known as the apical bud. And buds found at the axil of leaves are called axillary buds. Axil means they are these are present on the sidewise structure, the lateral buds, which is not present on the tip but laterally on the sides of the stem. They are known as the axillary buds. Now the function of the stem, that also has been discussed there, but still we can recapitulate once more that it provides the structural support because it supports the origin of the buds, leaves, flowers and fruits. And also the main function is it transports water and minerals from the roots to other plant parts wherever it is required. And also the food that is prepared by the leaves is transported with the help of stem only to all the other parts of the plant wherever it is required. And whenever it is green in color, it also performs photosynthesis and produces food. And also, nonetheless to mention, it stores food just like the underground stems. Now we'll come to the leaf, particularly the leaf structure we will now study. Now what is leaf? Leaf is actually the green lateral part of the shoot system, the part of the plant which is actually projecting out laterally from the stem, that is known as the leaf, and it is present and at each node of the stem. It grows from the node on the stem. Now, leaves grow up to a certain size. It depends on the species of the plant for which the leaf is a part, and once they attain their full size, they stop growing. They do not grow for their whole life. So, and also there are leaves also age with time. We also know that. So there are young leaves, then the leaves that has attained maturity, and finally the old leaves which then become incapable of performing photosynthesis, and finally they fall off. So now we will watch another video where the leaf structure has been described.
Up till now, we have looked at the structure of the stem in detail. Now let us have a look at the individual parts present on the stem. And what do we mean by this? By this, we mean the leaves, the flowers, and fruits. Let's begin with the leaves first. What exactly is a leaf, by the way? The leaf is this thin, flat structure. It appears to be mostly green in color due to the presence of chlorophyll. Wait, have you come across this term chlorophyll before? What is its use in the plant body? Chlorophyll is a green-colored pigment which plays a chief role in the process of photosynthesis. That is, the process by which green plants are able to prepare their own food. Let us now focus on the structure of a typical leaf. The flat and broad green-colored part of the leaf is called the leaf blade or lamina. This part of the leaf is generally exposed to sunlight as it performs photosynthesis. The leaf is attached to the stem by a short stalk called the petiole. Now, if you observe the leaf carefully, you will be able to locate these thin lines on its surface. Does this give you a clue what these are? Well, these are called the veins. Veins are like the small thin pipelines that participate in the transport of food and water. Now tell me one thing, do all leaves have the same type of veins? No, they don't. Veins have a specific pattern of arrangement. And this arrangement of veins in a leaf is termed as venation.
We will learn about venation later, but as of now, we have got a certain idea regarding the leaf structure. So basically the flat portion you have already watched in the video, the flat portion which is exposed to the sunlight for capturing the sunlight, that is the leaf blade, the thin flat portion. Then the stalk with which it is attached to the node on the stem is known as the petiole. Next thing is the midrib. What is the midrib? It is the central vein. The central vein which extends from petiole to the leaf apex, means the tip of the leaf. That is known as the midrib. In this case, this is the midrib. And it has got branches. Those are the veins. Means midrib is the central vein and it has got other branches. Those are also the veins. What is the function of these veins? They actually transport food and water to the leaf and also from the leaf to other parts of the body, of the plant body. And the leaf margin. What is this leaf margin? Means the boundary. Margin means the boundary of the lamina. So this is the boundary. Either it can be a smooth one or it can be toothed or with notches. We will study that subsequently. But the boundary of the lamina is known as the margin. Now, there are different types of leaves, mainly the simple leaf and a compound leaf. Simple leaf means all these parts that you have seen here will be owned by a single leaf. That means a leaf will have its own petiole, lamina, midrib, veins, margin, everything. But what will happen in case of compound leaves? One or more of these structures will be shared by a group of leaves, which will be known as leaflets. The group of leaves will either share a single petiole or a single midrib or a single structure or more than a single structure from all these main structures of a leaf. So that type of leaf is known as compound leaf. Now, before going into the classification, we will watch another video based on the leaf. See, this is the structure of the leaf. If I click on this, you'll be able to see the leaf structure. The lamina is there, the leaf base is there from which the leaf has originated, the axillary bud and the petiole. So all these are the parts of a leaf structure. And we will learn about the venation also. What is venation? Venation means the arrangement of veins in a leaf. What did I say? The arrangement venation means arrangement of veins in a leaf. It is mainly of two types. One is the reticulate one, in which the veins will form after the midrib is there, the other associated veins will form a network like structures like this. And another one is the parallel venation, means the veins apart from the midrib, so either they will lie parallel to one another in the longitudinal manner, or they can lie at an angle with the main vein, that is the midrib, but they will run parallel to each other in this way. So these are the two types of venation usually found in the veins of the leaf. Now, leaf classification based on the shape of the leaf. There are various shapes of the leaf that we can actually see in our surroundings. So, the major ones have been actually listed here. First is the needle shaped. So, example, pine, onion. So, needle means very much pointed, very thin and pointed. That just like a needle. So, that is the needle shaped leaf. Then oval shaped leaf such as the guava leaf and the apple leaf. So they will form an oval shape just like the shape of an egg. Oval shaped leaves. Then the heart shaped leaves, that will be of people and beetle. So you can understand from the picture also, just like the heart. I draw it other way around. So like this. And oblong leaf, you can also refer to the picture here, that of banana, circular leaf, that of lotus, and tapering, that means that of eucalyptus. Tapering means narrow on both the ends and broad in the middle, just like the shape of the smooth muscle cells. Okay, that we'll be studying later on. So that means narrow on both sides on the ends but broad in the middle. This is the shape of a tapering leaf. Now based on margin, I already told earlier the leaf margin means the boundary of the lamina can be of various types. First one is the complete. Complete means the smooth margin. That means no such corrugations will be seen. Next one is the toothed, serrated, or we can also say that notched margin. That means the little tooth-like structures will be there like this one. Okay, and you can see, refer to this image also, toothed margin. And lastly, now thirdly, we have the wavy margin, just like the waves, curly, slightly curly but in the form of waves. So this will be the wavy margin. And last but not the least, spinous margin means that's like the spines. Spines are again very pricky, so therefore the spines just like very pointed and thin. So these are the types of margin. Now types of leaf arrangement, which is also known as phyllotaxy. How the leaf will or the leaves will be arranged around the stalk. So that is known as phyllotaxy. The main types of phyllotaxy are given here. First one is the alternate. Alternate means one leaf arises per node in an alternate manner. For example, this is the stalk. Okay, so one node will be here, another node will be on the other side, a bit on the top, again another side, a bit on the top. So in a zigzag manner, you can follow a zigzag manner alternately. Okay, so this is the alternate. Then we have opposite phyllotaxy. That means two leaves will arise at each node opposite to each other. Again, suppose this is the stalk. So on one side there will be node, another side it will be node, another again this side, again this side. Now from this node the leaves will appear, right? So on the opposite sides. And last but not the least, hold means, for example, this is the stalk, this is the node. Now from this node, more than two leaves will appear from this node surrounding the stalk. It can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5. You can see here also hold. So from this node, and on the back side there can be another one from a single node around the stalk. So these are the types of arrangement of leaves, which is also known as phyllotaxy. Types of venation in leaves. Here we have already discussed this, that veins form network, and the examples are given just like the pipal leaf, mango leaf, guava leaf, and these are usually seen reticulate venation in dicot plants. What do we mean by dicot monocot? We have already discussed. So in dicot plants mainly we see taproot system, and this reticulate venation. And on the other hand, in monocot plants we usually find the fibrous root system and this parallel venation. Now we'll know the function of the leaves through a video. Let's watch it.
Having been introduced to the structure of a typical leaf, let's now move ahead to know more about the functions of leaves in any plant. Can you recall the primary and the most important function? Yes, we are familiar with the well-known process of photosynthesis. But how do the leaves exactly help in this process? Let me explain. The leaves are the place where photosynthesis occurs. There is a lot that goes into this process. Water, carbon dioxide, and most importantly, sunlight. The major ingredients required are carbon dioxide and water. However, the reaction only occurs when the most important green colored pigment called chlorophyll is present. And we already know that chlorophyll is present in the leaves. Yes, that is the reason why leaves are called the kitchen of the plant, a place where food is prepared in the presence of sunlight. In addition to photosynthesis, there is one more important function that leaves perform. This is called transpiration. What could this process be? Humans perspire to remove the excess water through skin and cool the body. In very similar fashion, plants opt for transpiration. So transpiration is the process by which plants are able to emit excess water in the form of vapor. So what will be involved in transpiration? Any guesses? The minute pores called stomata will take care of this process. We have already seen that stomata are responsible for gaseous exchange. That means the water vapor will be emitted from these pores. After learning about these two major functions, can you tell me if leaves have any other function? Are the leaves in all plants the same or are they modified for serving other functions as well? Let's answer these questions in the next video.
So you have understood the basic functions of the leaves apart from photosynthesis. Of course, photosynthesis is the primary function of leaves, but apart from it also, leaves perform other functions. Let's understand those functions a bit more. So firstly, photosynthesis is the primary function, and this is the equation, word equation for photosynthesis, in which the end products that we obtain will be glucose and oxygen will be released as the byproduct, and this byproduct is very much essential because it maintains the oxygen supply in the atmosphere from which we can respire. All the other living organisms can respire due to this oxygen supplied by the green plants. Next thing is the transpiration, which has been discussed. Now transpiration means loss of water through the stomata in the form of water vapor. So whenever there is a hot and humid condition, and then there is there will be excess water in the plant body. So these are the conditions in which the plant transpire. That means one is the condition number one is the hot and dry condition, and second one is that excess water, right? So you can relate the first condition with the plants that grow or are adapted in the desert conditions, because in the desert conditions what happened, to prevent this loss of water through transpiration, the leaves actually turn into spines that we will discuss in the modifications of the leaf. But whenever there is excess of water in the plant body, then also the excess water is excreted in the form of vapor through the stomata, and this transpiration also is very essential process because it has two major significance. One is the cooling effect, just like the sweating process of the humans. Whenever we sweat and the sweat evaporates, the body temperature cools down. So it actually helps in the thermoregulation of the body. In the similar manner, the cooling effect of the transpiration process helps to maintain this thermoregulation in the plant body. When water evaporates, the temperature of the plant body cools down. And another thing is that it creates a suction, which is also known as transpiration pull. So when water is lost from the upper parts of the plant body, that is from the leaves, during the transpiration process. So what happens, just like vacuum creates a suction, in the similar manner the loss of water in the form of vapor creates a suction through which the water and minerals which has been absorbed by the roots from the soil will be pulled towards the upper parts or the upper tip of the plant body consisted by the leaves, and it ensures that there is steady flow of the water and minerals to all parts of the plant body, especially in case of the trees which has got great heights. So therefore transpiration pool is a very efficient system in ensuring the transportation of water and minerals absorbed by the roots to reach the top of the tree. Now we'll know about the modifications of the plants or leaves, especially that means how leaves are modified and why they modify. What is the special function that they perform by modifying their structure? We'll know first in the form of a video. Let's watch it.
In our previous video, we have taken a look at the structure and the functions of leaves. We have learned how leaves are important in a plant body. In this video, let's focus on various modifications of leaves. Wait, what do we mean by modifications? Do the structures get altered? Yes, they do. In many plants, leaves get modified to perform some special functions. These functions are quite different from the normal functions, which is photosynthesis and transpiration. Let us learn about these modifications one by one. The first modification is in the form of tendrils. What are tendrils? We have seen that these are very delicate thread-like structures that help in anchoring the weak-stemmed plants like climbers. So are tendrils leaves? Astonishingly, in many cases, they are leaves. In botany, a tendril is a specialized modification of either leaves, stems, or petiole. These appear to be thread-like and are used by plants for obtaining support. But it's true that they do not look like a typical leaf. They do not have a lamina or blade, but they can still photosynthesize. Now let's move on to the next modification, which is the thorn. Do plants have thorns? Of course they do. Have you ever looked at a cactus plant carefully? In it, we can clearly see these spines, which are nothing but modification of leaves. Now, tell me one thing. Why are these leaves modified? Is there any specific purpose? The modification helps in lowering the rate of transpiration. In dry and arid regions like the desert, loss of water is extremely harmful to the plant. Leaves will keep losing water due to excessive heat if they are only in their original form. This is the reason why they get modified to shrink and form the spiny structures. Apart from this, in many cases, these spines protect the plant from grazing animals. Now our next set of modification is seen in insectivorous plants. Yes, carnivorous plants that prey on smaller animals have leaves modified to attract and catch hold of their prey. These plants are capable of photosynthesis but depend on insects in order to obtain proteins. Finally, we have the modification that makes the leaves a storage bag. Yes, it's true. Some plants have leaves that are thick and fleshy. These perform the function of storage of water. Which plants do you think show this type of modification? Plants belonging to arid regions with limited water supply usually have this modification. Now we can see that the different modifications of leaves are useful to the plants in various ways. The next organ we need to study is a flower. Flowers are the most important part of a plant body and they...
So We have known now from the video that modifications of leaf structure basically in order to perform other functions apart from photosynthesis. Firstly, leaf tendrils, they provide the support for climbing. That is why they are usually found in the climbers, where they take the help of any strong support and tries to stand stable. Because the stem in such kind of plants such as sweet pea, that is very weak. Next thing is the spines. Spines are modified into such structures so that there is no loss of water by transpiration. If the leaf remains as it is with the leaf lamina exposed, then from the stomata, excess of water will be lost and the plant will die due to loss of water. Therefore, leaf spines actually prevent transpiration, such as in case of cactus, and also it protects the plant from grazing by the animals. And then comes the scale leaves. The scale leaves, in case of the onion, you can see here, they store food and water, and they are also known as the bulb leaves in case of the onion. The all the bulb layers, the layers of the bulb, they are actually the leaves, the modified scale leaves of the onion, which are fleshy because they contain the food and the water. Similarly, as you have seen in case of spines and scale leaves, in both these conditions the plants usually grow in the hot and humid conditions or arid conditions, where they need to store the water because there is scarcity of water. And another thing which has been discussed in the video is about the storage leaves that we can also find in case of aloe vera. In case of aloe vera also, we can see the leaves are very fleshy, and if you cut the leaf, the juice will come out, that is the cell sap is there. So therefore, it is a storehouse of nutrients, water and minerals. Now, coming to the next modification of leaf as seen in insectivorous plants. So, the first modification is seen in the pitcher plant, where the leaves are modified into a pitcher which stores water. Okay, so just like the pitcher which stores water, the leaf blade actually looks like that only, elongated structure with the length 10 to 20 centimeter, and there is a lid also on the top which closes once the insect, which is its prey, gets inside, so that it cannot come out easily. And then the enzymatic juices will be released from in the inside the pitcher, which will digest the insect, and from that digested insect, the pitcher plant will draw the nutrient that it is deficient in, that is nitrogen. Why? Because the insectivorous plants usually grow in soil that is poor in nitrogen, right? And we know nitrogen is the main component of proteins, so they draw the nitrogen from the insects in the form of nitrates. Since they cannot take nitrates, it is lacking in the soil, that is why they have to compensate for that lacking nitrate from the insects. Otherwise the plant cannot actually build proteins, and we know proteins are known as body building nutrient, which helps to grow and develop. And also another thing is that it helps in the healing process and repairing, right? So therefore nitrogen in the form of nitrates is required by the insectivorous plants in order to build protein, which is used for the growth and development of the plant body and also in the healing and repairing process. And these pitcher plants are usually found in the Garo and Khasi hills of Meghalaya. Next is the venous flytrap. Same thing, but the structure is different. Here the midrib is there, which actually divides the leaf, the whole leaf into two parts. The two parts of the leaf closes and opens. It opens when it attracts the insects. It has got the scaly spiny hairs. You can see here the scaly spiny hair-like structures which fit with one another on both the margins. They fit in one another just like the hair clutches. So therefore, whenever it closes, it then packs the insect inside it very tightly so that it cannot escape, and again it releases the enzymatic juices which digest the insect, and from that insect it derives its nutrition in the form of nitrates. So therefore, this is another form of the insectivorous plant. And the last but not the least is the bladderwort. You can see that it consists of bladders. That means sac-like, balloon-like structures. And what happens here? They act as insect traps. And once the insect comes here, the insect can enter these bladders, but they cannot escape because they will release a sticky substance and the bladder will not allow the insect to escape. And again it will then release the enzymatic juices, and in the similar fashion it will digest the insects. So these were the examples of the insectivorous plants. Now we have come to the last segment of this chapter, which speaks about vegetative propagation in leaves. But first we have to know what is vegetative propagation. Whenever we say vegetative propagation, it means reproduction in the plants through the vegetative parts, just like the roots, the shoots, system consisting of the stems, the leaves. So apart from the seeds. So seed is the conventional method through which plants reproduce. Whenever seeds germinate, new plants grow from that seed. But this is not the usual process. When plants grow from the vegetative parts of the plants, apart from the seeds, this process is known as vegetative propagation. And when it happens in case of leaves, we say vegetative propagation through leaves. Now the examples are Bryophyllum, Bougainvillea or Begonia. So what happens in case of Bryophyllum? The notches of the leaves will bear the leaflets, right? In case, and you can see in the image also a group of leaflets, and then they will grow the roots. They will grow the small adventitious roots, and what will happen that when it will fall on the ground and upon getting the optimum condition for growth and development, so all these leaflets will grow into an individual plant. So from a single leaf, so a whole lot number of plants can grow, because each notch of the leaf will bear the leaflets capable of growing into a single plant. So we'll see some simulations before we wrap up. So you can see, if we cut the slice of a potato and plant it in the soil, and that means in this case, this is the cotton will act as the soil and water it, then what will happen, I already told the eye of the potato, they are the nodes, and from those nodes the buds will come out. So if we plant it, then you will see that potato plant will grow from those buds. This is the image of a bryophyllum leaf. You can see, I already told you can, the leaflets will grow in the notches of the leaf, and when it will fall on the ground, it will grow into individual saplings. And finally, this is the picture plant, how it looks. Okay. So this is all about this chapter. Thank you for being there with me. I hope you have understood the concept and hope to see you in the next class. Thank you.